ashe.
Funga alafia, ashe, ashe. Funga alafia, ashe, ashe.
You all already know this song. I can hear the song in your voice, okay? Ashe, 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 ashe.
Ashe, 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 ashe.
All right, another one. Dolarie, mama.
Dolarie, dolarie, mama.
Dolarie, baba.
Dolarie, baba.
It's like giving honor to you, my mother, giving honor to you, my father. You're in West Africa, you'll find that you refer to most people as, a mother or a father, an auntie or an uncle. There's so much familiarity, as well as acknowledgement of veneration and admiration for our elders, okay? So let's sing a little bit, all right? Funga lafia, ashe, ashe. Funga lafia, ashe, ashe.
Funga lafia, ashe, ashe. Funga lafia.
One second. I feel a little Eurocentric emphasis on the ashe, ashe. And we want to slow it down a little bit, give it that African sense of respect and enjoyment of the aesthetic of cool. Lay it back a little bit, right? So, funga lafia, ashe, ashe. Funga lafia, ashe, ashe.
Funga lafia, ashe, ashe. Funga lafia, ashe, ashe.
Ashe, 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 ashe. Ashe, 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 ashe.
Ashe, 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 ashe. Ashe, 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 ashe.
Dolarie, dolarie, mama.
Dolarie, dolarie, mama.
Dolarie, dolarie, baba.
Dolarie, dolarie, baba.
Good, I already hear the drums in my mind. All right, good. Okay, so why don't we get a couple of people to volunteer? First time on drums, we'll switch around a couple of times. You can give me a hand. Come on up, we got a couple of drums. All right, that one's a play drum. That's not good, but you can try it. Are you here? No. B-Rock. B-Rock. I told her I'm on the drum. I can't do all. Oh, anybody want to volunteer back here? Great, okay. So what we have is a djembe orchestra. The djembe has come to be known as kind of the African drum, but it comes from a really small area. It comes from the Malinke people, and there's a lot of lore around where it comes from. Primarily the Senegambian region, and in Mali is where we think it comes from. The Numu, which is a class of iron workers, and priests, which is kind of mixed up together, take credit for being the first ones to make it. It comes from a single piece of wood, and they're supposed to be, keep in mind we're talking about an animistic society that understands and believes that there's energy in everything, right? So this drum has the energy of this tree. It has the energy of the goat, which we use to head it, and it has the energy of that drum maker. And so you want to think about honoring all of that, right? Think about, we waste a lot of paper, we're accustomed to seeing meat in the store nice and clean and pretty, and we know that that's not always sacrificed in a way that is humane, right? So we do take great honor in. If you have drums or are interested in getting drums, I will recommend some places that I know are very high quality, and that they do that in that way, in the traditional way, as opposed to, again, drums like this with the synthetic heads are nice, but also those are mass produced in places that don't have that same level of honor. There are people who are making their livings doing that, so I'm always a proponent of sharing with you those people. So, and we need one more drummer back here. So the djembe orchestra, Tommy's a stick drummer. The djembe orchestra is played in a number of ways. It became really popular, especially in the early 1920s and 30s, as we start having pushes for liberation from colonial powers in West Africa, and many of the people who were in power in those African countries wanted to promote traditional culture as they were recognizing the terrible impact that colonialism, and unfortunately some well-intentioned but poorly executed missionaries had in their work with shaming people away from their culture. So they developed what they call the ballet style, which is funny, it's ironic, we're trying to get away from this Western idea. But they developed a ballet culture. Most of the West African countries develop a ballet, a major company that's representative, and they have people come in from different areas of the country who play and dance in traditional folk ways, and that really promotes the djembe. Then of course we have the Harlem Renaissance, and the introduction of African music and culture and dance to New York City, as well as the influx of large groups of migrants coming into Miami, Afro-Caribbean, who are coming in and they bring the kunga, and so we have this kind of really interesting marriage of culture that happens there, and all of a sudden the djembe is like the African drum, all right? So that's the short version of the history. So we're gonna learn a rhythm. The djembe speaks, all drums from West Africa speak, because the languages are tonal. So for instance, when I was learning Yoruba, I learned the word ba, G-B-A, and it means three different things depending on the tone of the A. Ba, 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 right? Ba, ba, right? Ba. You want to get it right, right? Okay, so the djembe has three tones to mimic the tone of the language as well as the rhythm, right? The three tones, now I know you're a drummer, she is, I can tell. Right. Make sure to remind you can take your rings, bracelets, watches off. You can give me a bass, right, good. There you go, you want to make it sing, that's a bass. And a tone, you're going to have the same position of your hand, your fingers are kind of together, relaxed, and you're going to hit with this much of your hand closer to the good, that's a tone. And can you get a slap? These are not tuned so well. Slap is a lot like you want to relax your hand. If I could slow motion the thing, you see my hand hit here and then my fingers. So you're going to have a whip-like sound. Right, good. These again are really low. They're not tuned, so you have a bass. Slap, right? Yes. Yes. Bass, tone, and a slap. So I can mimic a language. So there are rhythms that speak specific messages. This is one of the reasons you won't find a lot of traditional West African drummers who participate in drum circles. We think drum circles are fun, they're very healing, but the issue is that they're speaking things they don't really, they're just, oh, this is jamming out, this sounds good, without recognizing they're speaking phrases, right? And so that's why you typically, West Africans are kind of like, we'll go away from that. But we have those three pitches. So can you try a bass? Good, and try with your other hand as well. It's a little different on the kunga, but you'll get something similar. A tone, and with the other hand, yes. And then a slap. Slap, yes. You play. No. You hold your hand like a kunga player. A kunga position, right? So, good, exactly, perfect. So if we had more time, we would spend time just doing bass and slap for a long time. We're going to learn the rhythm. Funga Lafia. You're going to play, and everybody's going to say this. Bass, tone, tone, tone. You ready? 5, 6, 7, 8, bass, tone, tone, tone. Good. I would start my bass with my non-dominant hand. I'm a righty, so I start that bass with the left hand. But if you're a lefty, you may want to start with your right hand, right? Okay, so everybody speak the rhythm. You're going to tell yourself how to play it. Bass, tone, tone, tone. 5, 6, 7, 8. Bass, tone. Right, here we go. And we're going to go further. Bass, tone, 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 bass, bass, tone, tone. All right, bass, tone, 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 bass, bass, tone, tone. Right. All right. Now the way that I do that is left, right, left, right, left, right. 5, 6, 7, 8. I love it. Sounds so good. So we got to do about 15 times faster though. Yeah. And what we want to do is typically make sure our drummers, our students know there's no jamming out, right? We all are playing specific ostinato patterns. There's usually one lead drummer who improvises based on an understanding of the phrases that would be appropriate, right? So we have all of these multiple ostinato patterns that are happening, and what we'll do is now split up some of those patterns. We've got a couple of things happening here, but maybe we could play an additional accompaniment? No? You're looking at me? Okay? All right. Okay, so everybody say it after me. Tone, tone, slap, tone, tone, slap.
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 Okay, so let's get a couple of people to play the original part. Do you remember what it is? If you said all that? Okay, you got it? What is it? Tone, tone, bass. Tone, tone, bass. Tone, bass. Bass, bass. Tone, tone, yes. All right, good. Okay, so you guys think of as in Western music, we have a cue from the drummers. It's called a break. All right? And I think it's a really great example of the interrelatedness of what we're doing. We don't dance in isolation. You don't play in isolation. We are a community, right? And so I think that's one of the beautiful lessons of this. So our lead drummer, do I have a volunteer to give us a break? You've been voluntold? Yeah, so it's going to be ba 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 ba. Good, yes. And that break, that break tells dancers to start, stop, or change. All right? The break gives us the tempo. It gives us all the information we know. So if you hear ba 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 ba, there's that rhythm, right? If you hear ba 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 ba, right? That's what we're hoping for, but we're gonna take it easy. All right. So, do you guys understand? She's gonna play ba 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 ba, bass, tone, 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 bass, tone, tone. Okay. I'm gonna sing it for the first time. How about that?
Yeah, I've got this one in my head that I've been doing for years.
Okay.
Ba-da-da.
Oh, this is the extra play. Yeah, that's good. That's the more good. That's the next. I can't play that one. So I'm not a drummer. I'm not a dancer. I am proficient. But every drummer knows the dance, and every dancer knows the drum parts, right? I always say, if you are, oh, I'm a dancer. I teach. I'm like, well, what's the part? You should be able to tell us. You should at least be able to articulate it, even if you can't. I can't make my hands do it, but I can sing it, right? And the same way, I look to my drummers all the time. What's next? What's the next step? And they, oh, you do this. My drummers actually can dance because they can. Yeah. Just because, you know, they're 21 or 22. They can dance and play. I got a whole bunch of Yes. All right. So, well, let me give you guys your hands a break. Let's walk through a couple of the steps. So the dance that goes with Funka Alapia, and you guys feel free to join us on the steps also, have to do with they have to do with honoring welcoming guests and honoring the energy and the place that we are. So you'll see a lot of things that have to do with the four directions: north, south, east, west, acknowledging just the energy associated with those directions, right? And we think about, if you are like me, I was raised United Methodist, and I think about the beauty of the Trinity and the cross, right? That to me, one way doesn't discount another belief, rather it adds validity, like, oh, people all over the world will understand that there's one truth, right? And so acknowledging that energy is the same thing we see in the iconography of all major religions, right? So even if we think about in Islam, we think about the way that people dance from Islamic practicing countries in Africa has to do with recreating those lines. If you ever go into a mosque and see all the beautiful, that's what they're recreating with their bodies and their feet. And so often, I'm getting all off topic, but with West Sub-Saharan African anyway, you'll see a lot of dancing that has to do with the four directions. And that's what this step is. So the first step we're going to do on the break, pull my skirt up so you can see my feet. We will hear ba 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 ba. We're going to go down, 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 up, 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 up. Okay, makes sense? My first teacher said, your posture should be like a banana tree. I've seen banana trees. Since then, I realized that's not true. They want us to be like a banana. So, your posture should be always bent. Even when we're doing things with West African dance that are up, you will see this kind of interest in connecting with the ground. With ballet, right? We think about everything being like a string here. Maybe that's why it was not successful, right? With West African dance, it's all about a connection and in some way communing with the earth, right? So your posture is down. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? You'll do that same step until you hear the next break. All right? So let's try it on the break. Ba 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 ba.
It's getting real.
All right, from the top. Blah, 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 blah. Time
Sack,